Livingston Library Building Committee is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings. As such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. The order, which you can find posted to the town's website, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonably public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. And so this is being recorded, and for this meeting, I will call each person out to make sure that we're all heard. So Beth?
Aye.
Lisa?
Aye.
Andy?
Aye.
Doug?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Prabhu?
Aye.
Aye. And Mary? Aye. Great. All righty. Let us start off with the minutes, and we have quite a few, and hopefully everybody got a chance to see those last week. And thank you, Beth, and thank you, Lisa, for doing that.
Sure.
So are there any questions with that entire list of meeting minutes?
Nope.
Okay, does somebody want to make a motion to approve those?
So I'll make a motion to first start with the December 5th meeting, if possible. And then can we make a motion after that for all the other ones to get to the clerk in one motion? Or do we want to do it day by day?
I think if we did the list as a whole for the second one, that would be fine. So
Okay.
if we do the December 5th one first, if somebody wants to make a motion and second it.
I made a motion.
Okay, great.
Accept it.
Beth, I'll
Second.
second. Oh,
Excellent. Okay. Vote by roll call. Beth?
aye.
Lisa?
Aye.
Andy?
Aye.
Doug?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Prabhu?
Aye.
Mary? Aye. Declare the motion carried.
So I'm
Okay.
gonna make a motion that we accept all the past minutes needed by the clerk, and I'll read the dates very quickly. 2/6/2018, 5/30/2018, 9/10/2018, 2/25/2019, 5/20/2019, 7/15/2019, 8/19/2019, 8/10/2020, 1/19/2021, 4/26/2021, 12/6/2021, 12/17/2021.
Yep. Second.
Okay. Vote by roll call. Beth?
Aye.
Lisa?
Aye.
Andy?
Aye.
Doug?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Prabhu?
Aye.
Mary? Aye. Julie, did you just get on? Do you want to vote on that or? Okay. So I'm not sure. What do we do about the interior subcommittee minutes? Does anybody have any say about that?
We just
This is-
voted on them.
Oh, you did include those. I'm sorry, I didn't hear those. I heard all the other ones. Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure.
I think it's okay because both, so we have Doug and Julie and myself, so we've got a quorum of people from the subcommittee. So
Yeah, okay,
I
great.
think we're good. There is still one outstanding date that I need to track down and send out. I think it's the 2nd of August. So that'll be next month.
Okay,
They were cut up.
great. Again, thank you.
And those were all sent out. Lisa sent out, it was in all those links that Lisa sent out, because I did look through all those links.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I do want to make it clear, Beth did all of them. So thank you very much, Beth. That was
Yeah.
awesome. And I'll make
Yeah.
sure they get sent to the clerk.
perfect. Okay, thank you. All right, bills. We have one, I think. Beth?
We have the
From
Colliers,
Colliers?
yeah, that she sent out for the amount of $5,011.50 and for professional services rendered through 9/30/2022. So I make a motion that we pay that.
Somebody want to second that?
I'll second. And thanks. If anyone missed it, I'm on the public desk and I'm probably going to keep getting interrupted. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I can share the bill if anyone would like to see it on the screen.
Does anybody need to see it, or did you see it? Did everybody see it? For the $5,011.50. Yeah. Okay, are there any questions to this? Okay, no questions. I will vote by roll call. Beth,
Aye.
Lisa,
Aye.
Andy.
Aye.
Doug,
Aye.
Julie,
Julie must be muted. Sure, she's still muted.
Julie, you're muted. Skip over Julie. John,
Aye.
Prabhu,
Aye.
and Mary, aye. Declare the motion carried. No other bills, I presume?
Nope.
Okay, great, thank you. Change orders? Mark?
We don't have, Ron, don't have a formal change order to approve yet, but we've got, the last time we met, the committee approved the change order for the aluminum windows, the storefront application in the teen room and the community room. Subsequent to the meeting, that was a tough pill to swallow, so to speak, because of the, I guess the cost of the change. So I went back to CTA after the meeting, and I did have a long discussion with Matt, the 3rd or 4th PM that's now on the project, got him to knock the price down. I forget what it was, Mary, 2,000 or 2,500, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So the number that this committee approved last month has now gone down by a little bit, which is good. But that formal change order, I don't think we have anything to present this month. And they're not going to bill against it because they haven't done any work against it. We should get those shop drawings for that opening actually this week, and then they'll be off and running. So maybe at the end of this month, the hope, the January pay app, so the February meeting a month from now will approve most of the release of funds that have been held up specific to the controls related work. And then the only change order, I think, will be that door opening. And then we have some cleanup. There was a credit that was kind of dangling. It was approved by the committee, but not processed as a change order. That will be on the final change order as well. But next month change order should be the last one. The pay app should be potentially the next to the last one. So we're making progress.
Okay, so Mark, I had that you got it knocked down to about 25 grand.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, which is, probably a good thing we went through the exercise, because we saved, I think originally it was up to like 31,000.
Yeah.
So it's down to 25,000. So that's a good reduction. Thank you so much for being diligent about that and getting that lowered.
So ultimately, again, it wasn't an easy process to go through, but we're through it. I think the end design will be a good one, and we saved a little money from where we started off at. So that's good.
Perfect. Does anybody else have any questions regarding that change? Okay, we already approved it, so I was just wondering if anybody had any questions on it. Okay, we're up to you, Mark.
So a brief summary of where we stand. So I mentioned the controls, and Beth, we were talking informally before you all jumped on. We're maybe 90% of, or maybe more of the way there on the controls related work. The system is operational. There are a few areas they lost power over the weekend and they had a problem. There are some areas that suddenly will go from heating to cooling and so forth. I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but they're all addressable. They're all fixable in real time. Beth can access the system and address it. So it's not like it was, a few months ago. And we're waiting. We mentioned Colliers, that invoice recently. We're waiting for Colliers now to come back after the manufacturer's rep will come in and review the system. Then Colliers will come in and commission the system, sign off on the system, and then we should be done talking about this controls related work. So, which is a huge thing. That's been by far the biggest thing that's been hanging over us for the last 18 months. The next item is this those door openings that we mentioned. So we should get shop drawings this week. So between now and the next building committee meeting, those will be reviewed and approved, and then fabrication will commence. That's a several week process to get the material fabricated, delivered, installed, but it'll be underway. Speaking of underway, the millwork ADA rework that is underway. So that has started. And Ron and the millwork people and Beth are keeping people up to date on, and William as well, on how that is going. But that hadn't started the last time we spoke. The gate at the bottom of the main stair is probably 95% done as well. There's some panels the panels that go in the gate were the wrong panels. We're waiting for those to show up. The caster at the bottom of the gate, we're waiting for them to put that in. They're going to do that at the same time. And there's some touch up on the wall and so forth where the work was done. But the gate is in, the lock is in, it's operational. So again, we're very close there. The one thing that came up that's unfortunate since last time we met is that the leak above the community room, which we could not make leak, leaked again. And it leaked during one of those big storms that we had a few weeks ago where it was windy. That's the only time that we can get it to leak, is when it's really like a wind-driven rain. So CTA had the mason out on the site. They reviewed everything. They too tried to make it leak, couldn't make it leak. But the one thing they found was the green roof system. The top of the green roof system is level with the bottom of the window opening, which isn't a good detail. And we think with saturating rain or wind or snow and ice, where that's a weak point here at the window, and you've got all the snow and buildup and water sitting at that weak point, eventually something's going to find its way in. So the recommendation was to pull that green roof system back 18 inches, like it is on one side of the roof, but it's tight to the building and tight under the windows. So William was going to reach out to the green roof manufacturer, have them come out and take another look at that. But when the leak came up again, CTA they've been very responsive. This last PM, Matt, he's desperately trying to wrap things up and make everybody happy and go home. So he got the mason right out there. They discovered that. So hopefully that will resolve that when we pull that green roof system back. So those are the big 3 or 4 items that we've been tracking for the past several months. We've got most of them on the run. And I think a month from now, when we meet, I think we should be in very good shape.
I have a question about that roof, Mark, that I got an explanation from William Blake saying that the flashing where the roof above the community room met the wall outside of the staff break room, that's where the water was coming in. I mean, could you fix that flashing, or did you discover that it's more about the green roof?
Well, I think the issue was they put the hose right on the flashing, and for a half hour, 40 minutes, and they couldn't make it leak. And William had done that, or Evan had done that before in the summer when they tried to do the flood test. But the fact that the green roof system is at that flashing point, so right under the windows, that's where that flashing line is. And so when the water lands, it has nowhere to go until it dissipates, and certainly snow and ice buildup. And you don't want to promote anything at that line. That's typically the flashing line is well above the roof line. And you need to have a backup to reach that. Right now, we're starting there. And so if there's any buildup of snow or ice to get above the flashing line, you're going to have a problem. So, so we know where it came in. When they had that leak, they went in, they poked around, and they took a film with their phone, and they saw where the water came in. But then when we went up above and tried to force the water through, we couldn't do it. But we just know the way that's set up is we're asking for problems. So we're going to pull that back, step back, see again if that resolves it or not.
Okay, that's good. At least we see where it's coming in now, right?
Right. We're closer than we were. It's still frustrating that we can't make it leak, but and this is an issue. So this was done outside of the contract, outside of CTA's contract. But in good faith, they got the mason out there. They spent some time there trying to figure this thing out. And that was the initial recommendation from both. And they sent around some pictures, and I would agree with them.
Okay, that's awesome. And you said that the millwork is underway. Like, how long do you think that they'll be there fixing that?
Defer to you, Ron, on this one. How?
I'm going to assume probably into February, early February, because they have to fabricate some of the stone countertops and modify them. So that's some things they have to take out of the building to modify, if I'm not mistaken.
So if I thought of mid-February, that would probably be good, or you think?
I think that would be a good time.
Okay, great. Thank you.
They've started in 3 or 4 areas, lowering some work surfaces, lowering some counters. So they're started. They're moving along.
Okay. Last thing I wanted to ask you, Mark, was our budget and what we have left. And I sent something off to you and Beth was great. She gave me a breakdown of what we have left.
And I apologize. I saw that about 15 minutes before a meeting. I was at offsite at a window manufacturer's today and just came back. So I saw the question, I saw Beth's response. And so I don't have the numbers in front of me to go through them. And there was William was going to share with me the accounting's backup and everything to go over with MBLC as far as categorizing what item goes under what bucket is as far as the MBLC was concerned. But Beth, if you just put this up, if you want to walk us through, I mean, you see that total number of 90,000-ish that's available. And this does not include, so we still have we have a change order to process of 25,000, and then there's a credit run that goes along with that. I forget the value of that credit. So it's not a full 25, the net will be less because of that credit. Mm-hmm. I think that, I want to say the credit was 7.
Yeah, I think it's in that range.
Yeah, so we're talking about, I'm being very rough here, an add of maybe 18, or a deduct of 18 and an add of 90. So call it 20 for maths purposes, and 20 from 90 gives you 70,000 roughly available within the contract. This isn't capital campaign. This is the contract.
Correct. Yeah.
So that means the balance is 250,000 if you add the lead with the 90.
Correct. But the lead, typically you wouldn't count that. So that'll come to you, but we don't have it yet. And,
right, okay.
And so that'll come, literally a year from now. Once the lead certification process goes through, and then that takes some time, and then you'll get rewarded by MBLC with that 165. So you might earmark what you're going to spend that money on a year from now, but it's not yours to spend just yet.
So we can safely say, not safely, but we can estimate that we have about $70,000 left for the project.
Correct.
And Beth, do we have that 70,000 spent earmarked for items? like an FF&E and that sort of thing?
I mean, I could provide a list, but it's not at this point earmarked for anything specific.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so if there is the list, is that something that we'll need to vote on, because that's part of the project monies, right?
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
not sure what list you're talking about. Is there a
So-
list of open items that we know about as a committee?
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
there's nothing we know about as a
There's
committee.
no
so-
current list. So this is, you've got $70,000 left. Do you want to spend it on anything list? So there's nothing within CTA's contract that would necessitate spending that money. So it would be internal, FF&E, things like that.
Screen on the roof.
I was just going to say that. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Roof screen.
Yeah.
But there's still like offices that were designed to have shelving, like wall mounted shelving, that don't have it. You know, we didn't buy all of the art rails. Some
Sure.
of those things capital campaign picked up cost for. We still have patio furniture. So it's those kinds of things.
Right.
Right, there's, you know, I'm sure it can be spent easily.
Right.
But it's good for us to know, you know, what we have left.
Yep.
Okay, does anybody have any questions or comments regarding that?
When that money comes back, when we get that lead money, is that, because sometimes money goes to the general fund of the town, will this actually get back to the library and either to this committee or to the library trustees, so they have control over it?
That's a great question. And NBLC is very adamant about not allowing that money to just end up in the general fund. They want to ensure that it ends back at the library project. And this is an issue that's happened before, where there wasn't a mechanism within a municipality or whatever to deal with that. You know, a year later, they get this income and it just goes to the general fund. And it's a tight year, and all of a sudden the money that's earmarked for the library is sucked up into a new DPW garage or something like that. And so you want to ensure before those monies are received that they don't go anywhere but the library.
That's great. Prabhu?
Yeah, I had a question, not on this one, but back on the community room. Did we say, was there an anticipated timeline as to when that would get addressed? And the reason I say that is I have been there in the library, and in fact, in the community room for a scout meeting for my kid, and it looks very shabby. It gives a very bad image of our beautiful building out there. So I did meet up with Beth the other day. I was just wondering, do we need to push for some urgency, and do we have a timeline as to when that would get resolved?
I'll check with William again. The green roof system was done outside of CTA's contract. So William is going to reach out to the green roof manufacturer, whose name escapes me right now, find out what their plan was to pull that back. And then in the meantime, if you remember, when Beth got married at the library, we had a similar situation where we didn't know what the cause of the leak was, but it looked bad. So CTA came in and fixed everything up, knowing that it might leak again. And 18 months later, it's leaked again. And you're right, it doesn't look great. But it's, on the one hand, it's the kind of thing you don't want to keep fixing the aesthetics without fixing the problem first, because you're just banging your head against the wall. But you're right, it doesn't short term, it doesn't look good. So I don't know if there's, in the town, if William has the capacity to have that touched up and painted and so forth, while the green roof manufacturer is working on that.
Right, and not just the painting part, right? There were plastic sheets on the carpet, on the rug, so that the carpet doesn't get messed up, and so on and so forth. It's a beautiful building. The last thing we want is people coming into the community room, and then we keep telling them, don't go there, don't go to that corner, don't go to on this side of the room. Okay, thank you.
Doug?
Mark, you mentioned, or maybe it was Ron mentioned the door is the gate. Sorry, the gate is almost done. Does it have the wheel on it? Like, can we actually start locking it and start having having events after hours?
Yes and no. You can lock it, but it doesn't have the wheel. They're waiting for those. The panels that are in there now are not the right panels, so they're waiting for the correct ones to come. They have the wheel, but they're waiting for the panels to come in. They'll put them both in at the same time. But in the meantime, it wasn't designed for a wheel, so it still opens and closes and locks and so forth. So you can have after-hour events now.
Great.
There is no cylinder in the key lock, though.
I thought Matt swapped that out with his the hardware guy.
When I went Friday afternoon, this past Friday afternoon, to check on the ADA millwork.
Okay.
I look at the gate and I didn't see a lock cylinder in there.
Okay, I'll check with
But
him.
it had been resolved as well. But in the email I sent, I think earlier today, I mentioned that, and as you said, some of the wall needs to be touched up. The wall behind the door, when it's closed, needs some touch-up paint.
Yep.
Lisa?
So the green roof wasn't part of CTA. How was that paid for? Was that a campaign fund or friends?
Yeah.
All right, so moving forward, is the campaign fund going to have to how are they going to get approval to do things to a town building? Because I love all the campaign funding that they're doing, and clearly they make decisions outside of this committee, for example, the piano, things like that. They don't, I'm not sure how much input they get from the public about things they'd like to see added. But before we go and drill holes into the bricks or do anything to the envelope of the building that might negate a warranty, is there going to be a process in place for that to happen? I get that it's not town money, and I get that it's not our money, and they can buy whatever they want without input. But I also don't want situations where now the roof is leaking twice, and then we fix it because of a decision 4 or 5 people made about a town building.
Doug?
Well, I will just comment that the piano, everything the town has purchased has been part of the building. I'm sorry, everything the capital campaign has purchased has been part of this committee or part of the building plan, just to correct for it. But if there's costs associated, if the green roof people come and decide that that needs to get fixed, I presume the capital campaign will pay for that, that green roof getting adjusted.
And then what about the damages? And then moving forward, because I don't attend your committees, I don't know, Doug. So I just need to be educated on how the process will be made down the road. Like if you want to put those lights up, for example, by the patio, and then you drill holes into the mason, and then it cracks the whole wall on the inside. Do we have a process in place for that? Can we have a process in place for that?
Well, I think so. I mean, if this committee still exists, it can come through the committee. If the committee is it's already past the committee time, it would have to be going through the town administrator, I assume. I mean, via the library director, of course, and the trustees would give it the thumbs up, but I'm assuming the town would be involved at some point.
Okay. Any other questions, comments?
I'm personally not convinced that. I mean, if you can't cause the leak by pushing a hose on the green roof and filling it up and letting it overflow, I mean, I'm not sure how you figure out what's wrong with it. I mean, I guess you fix something and it never leaks again. That's great. If you fix something and it leaks down the road, then obviously you didn't fix the right thing. And I know that's a hard process when you can't replicate the error.
I feel like we're getting a little closer though, Doug, because, they're finding it at a location now, and then it ran down through the I-beam on the inside.
Right.
They get to be able to see it travel. So it being at the flashing is a good sign, because that could be fixable rather than in the middle of the, you know, the roof or whatever.
Yep.
So yeah, I agree. It's probably just at a location and not because of the green roof, but we just got to get it fixed.
Yeah, it sounds like it might be as simple as getting the green roof people just to shorten it by 18 inches, right? And then we'll know a cost and all that stuff once they come back and see that.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
It may also, I'm sorry for interrupting. One quick comment. It might also be a matter of shifting the trays also. In other words, if we have 18 inches or 12 inches at the parapet, we can move the trays towards the parapet away from the window. That's a possibility. They'd have to look at it.
And now that Mark's gone, we might not have the answer to this. That leads money that comes in, can we use that to pay down the loan, or it has to be used for something additional for the library?
This is Beth. I don't have the answer to that, but can find out. I think the understanding is it goes toward things that didn't get included as opposed to just directly to the bill. And we had committed, I thought, that the roof screens would be the next priority to satisfy Historic District Commission's request. And that was a significant amount of money. Ideally, it would be for solar panels, but we may not. My understanding from town administrator is it may not be worth it to put solar panels on this building because there's only so much room for them, and it might not generate like more to do it than would offset any income or credit from it. I did have my hand up. I wanted to address Prabhu's comment about the community room. It doesn't look pretty. There's some tiles missing and plastic sheeting on the floor. I had asked for it to be restored, but the issue is if it leaks, then more damage will happen. So the decision was made by town administration that no, just leave it. We'll tuck the missing panels away for now. We'll roll up the sheeting if we need the whole use of the space and it's dry, and then we'll roll it out when we don't need to. So it's not unsightly, but it is being kept vacuumed and cleared, and we are able to run meetings. And if we run into an issue, we can always close off meeting room B, which is the half of the room with the damage, and make only community room A available. But for now, it seems like it's not so bad that we need to shut down the whole room or be going up and down ladders, you know, every time the weather changes, make adjustments. I'm still waiting on a timeline though for those repairs to happen. I do think that if we relocate or trim down some of those green roof panels and it continues to leak, then maybe it isn't the green roof after all. And then we'll have to look for another solution, but that might really just be a quick fix. Just remove a row, you know, all the way around in an L shape. And then I forget who asked about the gate at the bottom of the stairs. We have been accepting facility rental requests as of the new year. And we had a piano recital with a teacher in Worcester who has youth students who paid $150 for 3 hours of room use. 40 people attended. And I came on site as opposed to, say, giving him a card to let himself in and then changing the security for the doors manually from home. I chose to just come in and be present on site that day. We can close the gate, but it locks and stays locked. So that's the issue with not having the pin set or the key, that once it's closed and locked, it's locked. So you need to, I'm short, so I need to get a chair and climb over to open it back up again. And technically any patron could do that if the space was unattended. But we are moving forward with facility rental, kind of in spite of it not being quite ready yet. It's good enough, and we want to generate that income. And then I did reach out to William Blake about insurance for the piano. My understanding is town owns it and town should be insuring it. So that's proceeding. And then the last thing I wanted to comment on was I believe the Board of Trustees are the stewards of the building. So it seems like any future changes would have to go to Board of Trustees, which meets in public meeting, to have a conversation. And while we do really want lights out there on the patio, we could do something with, 3M hooks. So we're not drilling holes into the envelope of the new building, because that wouldn't be my recommendation either. Yeah, I think that's it. I'll shut up now.
Beth, just before, in case you have to go again, just for that community room, would it make sense to close the door to the B section and then open it when you need it? So then people don't see it on a regular basis?
It's so literally it's 3 panels missing from the ceiling.
Okay.
It's it's not terribly unsightly. We're probably going to come back and argue with me about it. Or give me some more input.
Okay.
But yeah, we had the piano on the B side and then moved it so it wouldn't get leaked on. Piano's back on side A. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you for all that. Andy, you had something?
I think we need to keep in with that lead certification money too, that we currently have a cupola situation that's going to be costly and need addressing as well.
I got a quote for some initial work to get a lift up there to, maybe they call it exploratory, to take a look so that we can get a quote for what it would cost to do any repair or renovation to it. So that is in process. We do have some money in state aid that I would expect to help pay for it, the investigatory piece at least. I actually just emailed the trustee chair and town administration and capital campaign today so that we can move forward on that. The former architect, David L. King, who did the cupola repair 20 years ago, gave us a quote for that exploratory piece. And then I know what it will cost for an actual construction quote. But the good news is the Mass Historic Commission has a community preservation grant on the horizon with a March 23rd deadline, and that should help offset some costs. So I would not anticipate back to town of Grafton for money for that. I think we have other pots that we can draw on, but I am not the end all be all for finances. So.
Yeah, that was the way I understood it as well. So, if some of that has to go towards there, cross that when we get to it. But, okay. Anybody else?
Thanks.
Ron, you're up. Do you have anything to add other than the millwork is underway?
Just two quick things. The shop drawings for the doors, I received that and I'm reviewing it now. Andy, I guess didn't realize it. It had been emailed to me for the teen room and for the program room. So I have that in hand and I'm reviewing it. The other thing is I owe John Stevens some information about the directional sign out in front of the building. I apologize. It just got lost in my emails. So you had some question about dimensions and sizes and whatnot. So I'll be getting back to you shortly on that. Those are the only two things I have to add.
Okay, great. All right. John, how about you? Historic District?
Hey, can I hop in quick?
Sorry, sure, Andy. Yeah.
Okay. Ron, do we have an idea of the lead time for those barn doors?
Not off the top of my head, as Mark was saying, it's probably 4 to 6 weeks, I would imagine, for fabrication.
He had said several weeks for fabrication.
Yeah. From the time that we approve the shop drawings, which will be this week.
Right. Sorry. Thanks.
You bet.
Anybody else? For Ron? Okay, John?
Historic District did meet right before Christmas, and we had ended up, rather than making a decision, coming up with a lot more questions because we didn't have enough information to make a decision. The only decision that we made is that the wrought iron would be black to match the black wrought iron on the front of the building. But one of the big questions that we had was, did the concern for the Accessibility Commission, did they review this sign? Because this is an accessibility sign. Did they have any review over that? Who reviews the sign? Did they approve that? Does this meet what they need or want or would like to see? So that we don't want to go down a rabbit hole only to find out this is not meeting certain requirements, either locally or state requirements. And I think our concern was the size of the sign. Does it need to be as large as is proposed? And the cost, basically what was the original cost? And I think that's one of the things when you were talking about money, how much money are we getting back? And then then you're going to have to have money to fabricate a sign that fell out of the contract.
Well, a credit was given for the signage when it was taken, when they took it out of the contract. I don't remember exactly what that credit was. It was a while back. So Mark and I can look into that. In terms of approval of the sign, I read through the ADA requirements, and so far as I can see, it meets it. I could do a double check and run it past the commission or the consultant that did the ADA evaluation.
I think we're concerned about that because we just paid to have an architect design a ramp for the bandstand, and we put the ramp in so it would be accessible. After all the work is done, somebody complained to say there's no railing on the 2 steps, the original steps that are there. And not only does the code require a railing, it requires a railing down the middle. The building inspector didn't catch it. The architect didn't catch it. So it's like, and we're going to have to pay to have everybody redo all this, even though we did what we thought was the right thing.
Right.
So before we spend any money on this, we want to be very confident that we're doing what is required and what we need to do. And if the Disability Commission, if this is something that they're happy with, and I don't know if that's part of what they do. Do they review these kind of things? I don't know the answer to that question.
I can run it past them. I can send them the drawings, tell them what size it is, this, et cetera, give them a mock-up, and they can tell us if they have any issues with it.
Because I think that was the concern of a couple of people is, and I can't, because I don't have my glasses, but the designs that you sent over, it seems like the panel is 2 feet by 3 feet, if not a little bit bigger, just the panel itself. So it's quite large to basically say, you're here, go around the building. And so does it need to be that large? Can there be a smaller diagram of the building to make this a smaller sign? That's I thought the panel was quite smaller than that. I thought it was about a foot high by about 24 to 30 inches wide. Just the image, the panel itself with the map on it. Because I think that was a big concern, was it seems like it was 2 feet by 3 feet. It was large. Oh, I'll double check. I don't think it's quite that big. I mean, that is big. 2 feet by 3. But if that's what's required, that's what's required. We just don't know the answer to that. Yeah, the only requirement is that it's legible. And that it's, the text is an appropriate size and people can read the map. They don't tell you how big the sign has to be. But I don't think the sign, the map itself was quite that big. The sign itself, the full stand, is probably about 3 feet high by about 30 inches wide, but the map itself isn't quite that big. The panel that's framed in, I think it's, well, and again, I can't see this, it's so tiny. And it doesn't give me a clear. Okay. I can't read it. Just off. Yeah. I do have your email asking for the dimensions, and I will double check it and get back to you on that. And if it can be made smaller, we'll see. Because our concern was also that it's raised up straight like a stop sign, whereas before it tilted back. So it's not as pronounced when it's not as visible from the street. You're just going to see this rectangular mass that you don't really know what it is, so you get close to it. And that's, I think, part of why it was a wayside type sign initially. And so we just, without knowing more about size.
Okay. I'll clarify all that information for you. The reason that I made it vertical and took that bend out, because I wanted people in wheelchairs to be able to see it without having to lean over it. I didn't want it to be, and then you have to consider people that are standing that might need to read it. So I was trying to find a height and a configuration that would work for both.
And I think that's what led us to say, is this according to the disability codes or the access?
They don't give you a lot of guidelines on signage like this, aside from the letters the text has to be legible, or for different type of sign, they'll tell you whether or not it needs Braille. This one doesn't need Braille. But I'll double check it, and I'll run it past a consultant or the commission, and just take a quick look at it and make sure it's compliant.
We meet again next Thursday.
Okay. Next Thursday? All right.
Yeah, maybe if you could just answer those 4 questions that John
Yeah.
had sent over to you, that would be great.
That's
Not a problem.
The 19th.
Okay. Can do that.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? All right. And I think we could adjourn. It is 6:49.
And we are meeting in February.
So let's we have a date in February.
The 6th.
February 6th.
Yep. And then we may as well set it because I don't think we're going to be done.
To March
6th.
So I make a motion at 6:50 to adjourn.
Second.
Oh,
All right. Vote by roll call. Beth,
Aye.
Lisa,
aye.
Andy,
Aye.
Doug,
Aye.
Julie,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Prabhu,
Aye.
Mary, aye. Great. Thanks, everybody.
Night.
Thanks. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy
Right.
New Year.
Thank you.
Happy New
Good night.
Year.